Welcome to New Orleans, along with my Hall of Fame partner, Dan Deerdorf. I'm Greg Gumbel. Some fans like offense, others love the great defense. In this game, there should be a little of everything to please everyone. This is going to be a terrific football game, and it comes your way, as usual, in high definition. The New Orleans Saints have won the toss, and they will receive. That's Courtney Roby, the fourth-year man out of Indiana, at his own goal line. Jay Feely ready to kick it away. And we are underway in New Orleans. This is Roby, a yard deep in the end zone. And out of bounds just short of the 25-yard line.
Well, Sean Payton calls the plays. He and Drew Brees, since the day they got here together in 2006, talk about two guys in sync. What a combination they make.
Line of scrimmage in New Orleans 24 as the Saints offense gets underway with a handoff to Pierre Thomas. And David Harris made the stop. And this is Robert Meacham, wide receiver. First down yardage and out of bounds across the 35.
Well, it's always been a good change of pace against a team defense that has great speed is misdirection. And you could see that there was some confusion there for the Jets defensively. They were having trouble getting into the proper alignments. They were still discussing who was going where. And the quick snap and the end around to Meacham kind of caught them looking.
First down, New Orleans at their own 37. Brees out of the shotgun. Throwing to the far side of the field, Reggie Bush with the catch. On 2nd and 6, the give is to Bush, and Bush across the 45 and appears to have enough for a first down. There's Sean Payton. First time coaching against the New York Jets as a head coach in his 4th season here in New Orleans. The NFL Coach of the Year back in '06, his rookie year here in New Orleans. And there is Rex Ryan in his first season as head man of the New York Jets. First down, New Orleans. They've moved out to their own 47-yard line. Quick pass, far side. That's complete to Bush. Looking for running room and finds none. That may go as a no gain. Breed with time. Now drops it off to Pierre Thomas. And Thomas into Jets territory across the 45 to about the 43.5 where Bart Scott made the tackle.
I'm not sure how many people Drew Brees checked out before he decided to dump it off, but he was in the rocking chair. He had a lot of time back there. He went through his progression, didn't find anybody. Great pass protection by the New Orleans offensive line.
So it's 3rd and a short 1. Pierre Thomas and Heath Evans are in the backfield. Brees will give it to Thomas. Thomas will get the first down and more. Inside the 40 to about the 36-yard line of the New York Jets.
Well, Pierre Thomas had 126 yards in the second half of the game last week up in Buffalo. And take a look at the nice hole. He's got great lead block by Heath Evans. And ultimately ends up tripping over his own guy. See, he gets a nice block there on the outside by Dave Thomas, but he followed number 44 right into the hole. Well executed.
He got enough for the first down. It's a first down for the Saints at the Jet 36. Bush back into the backfield. The fake to him. Brees with time, and that one's complete inside the 35 to the 32-yard line. Devery Henderson, his first catch of the day.
Well, you can see that early on here, the Jets are dropping people back. They're only rushing 4, and Drew Brees is having trouble finding anybody open downfield. He's having to settle for a check down. Now, if you want to test his patience, you got a long day because Drew Brees is a very patient quarterback. He will work the deep routes, but he will always find somebody short.
2nd and 5, and now Pierre Thomas back into the backfield. Breeze a perfect 4 for 4, and now 5 for 5. And Devery Henderson on the slant has a first down to the Jet 22.
Boy, it's almost like Sean Payton knew that the Jets were going to come off the edges, because the perfect pattern for a blitz off the edges is the quick slant. The hardest route for the corner to defend when he's locked up in man, which is exactly what Lowry was there. That was anticipated and called well by Sean Payton.
Jets defense, no opening drive touchdowns over their last 11 games. This is Thomas. Stacked up in the 20, and a late flag comes flying in from referee Bill Levy.
Boy, nice work by Chris Jenkins on the nose.
Holding, number 76 offense. 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Well, that's Jonathan Goodwin, the center, and I think he was trying to block Chris Jenkins, which is a man-sized task.
Jonathan Goodwin was drafted by the New York Jets in the 5th round back in '02.
Where'd he go to college?
I believe he's a Michigan Wolverine.
I believe he is.
Does that make a difference to you?
Well, no, that's just. Oh, there it is, Michigan. That's right.
1st and 20. This is Heath Evans. And Evans to about the 26.5-yard line. David Harris with the tackle.
Well, this is just methodical on the part of the Saints. And again, you can see that was a patient play call, not trying to get it all back after suffering the penalty yardage. But this is an interesting down and distance here now. Peyton versus Ryan. Who's going to do what?
6-minute drive for these New Orleans Saints. On 2nd and 14, to give us to Bush, turning the corner, 20, out of bounds just shy of the 15-yard line.
That's how you keep a defense off balance. You know, you got 1st and 20, you run the ball, then you got 2nd and 15, and you run it again. And you can see the Jets weren't prepared for it. Looked like Bart Scott might have been held on the edge, and that's how the Saints got around to the outside. They were lucky there wasn't a yellow flag flying, but there wasn't, and it was successful.
Here's a big 3rd and 4 for the Jet defense. Twelfth play of this drive. Breeze, drifting, throwing, corner of the end zone, incomplete. Reggie Bush, the intended receiver, and that was Kerry Rhodes who came flying in.
And Drew Brees really tried to fit this into pretty tight coverage by the New York Jets.
And for the first time all season, the Saints failed to score a touchdown on their opening drive. So far, the field goal unit is on the field.
That's just outstanding. Kerry Rhodes comes across, gets his left hand on the ball.
This is John Carney, and he lines this one up from 34 yards out.
The aged one.
In his 21st season, Carney puts it up and through the uprights. 8:06 to play in the first quarter. It's a big road test today for Mark Sanchez. 3-0 as a rookie starter. 4 TD passes, 1 rushing touchdown, 2 interceptions. He starts at his own 20-yard line. And the quick pass, the slant, that's complete. And Dustin Keller is hit hard after about a 5-yard gain. Leon Washington now in the backfield. And Washington going to get the direct snap. Well, Sanchez comes back over now. On 2nd and 5, quick pass, complete the other way. And that's a first down to Jericho Cotchery. And the give is to Thomas Jones. And Jones pulls his way to the 40-yard line. And things getting a little chippy early on.
Well, right off the bat, let's give some kudos to Brian Schottenheimer, the offensive coordinator, who opens up the game with the Saints stacking the line of scrimmage, overplaying the run, and letting Mark Sanchez throw the ball on the first 2 plays of the game. Sometimes you got to reach a point where he's no longer a rookie. He's just our quarterback. That was a smart way to start the game.
On 2nd and 7, this is Thomas Jones, and Jones, no place to go.
And it's pretty obvious how the Saints are really trying to take away the running game by just overloading the line of scrimmage.
We have a penalty marker down. Here's Bill Levy.
After the play was over, personal foul, number 22 defense. Slugging the defender in the back of the head, 15-yard penalty, first down.
That second-year cornerback, Tracy Porter.
Well, take a look at this right here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and these guys are going to walk up and get closer. There they come. And again, that is just, look at that. Sharper's standing on the line of scrimmage before the ball carrier even gets there.
That penalty moves the ball into New Orleans territory. It's first down for the Jets now at the Saints 45. Now the Jets spread the field. Sanchez with time over the middle, threw it behind his intended receiver, Brad Smith.
And you can see right now Mark Sanchez talking to Brad Smith. He was expecting Smith to do something different. I think he was waiting for him to just sit down instead of continuing to drift towards the middle, because Brad Smith was wide open, but you could tell by Sanchez's body language going right up to Brad Smith, and they were talking about a complete miscommunication.
And we get a timeout. Second and 10. The Jets at the Saints 45. Play fake to Leon Washington. Sideline pass is complete inside the 40 to Jericho Cotchery.
Well, that was a nice open field tackle by Jabari Greer. He's locked up one-on-one with Cotchery. Gets a good jam on him, gets up there, but can't do much about it. Good throw from Sanchez. That time the Saints playing corner man with just a single free safety back in the middle. That's because, again, they had 8 guys up on the line.
First third down opportunity of the day.
Look how many Saints are within 4 yards of the line.
To the throw for it on the slant, complete and dropped. Cotchery had it and dropped it. Jabari Greer was on it.
Well, 10 guys on the Jets offense did what they had to do. Watch this throw from Mark Sanchez. Absolutely right there. And actually, Greer was on him early. That could have been illegal contact and interference. Greer had his hands on Cotchery's shoulders before the ball got there and affected his ability to catch the ball. That should have been flagged.
Reggie Bush is deep. With a kick from Steve Weatherford, who hangs it up high. It bounces and rolls, and the Jets try to down it, and they do inside the 5-yard line. Saints begin from their own 4-yard line. 12 offensive plays. They've thrown it 6 times and run it 6 times. The give is to Thomas. Wrapped up all the way back to the 1-yard line by Bart Scott.
There haven't been many free agent signings, and there have been some good ones this year in the NFL that have paid off more than Bart Scott joining the New York Jets. So important, not just in the quality of his play, and I think the Jets fans have to be thrilled with that, but what he's meant in terms of helping all his teammates understand what Rex Ryan is demanding and asking of them in this defense, along with Jim Leonard. 2 really key additions to this Jets defense in many different ways.
Loss of 2, second and 12, out of his own end zone. The pass across the 5 to about the 6 to the tight end, Jeremy Shockey, his first catch of the day.
And with a banged up Jets secondary, you know that Darrelle Revis is going to be on Marcus Colston. But there's got to be some room for Jeremy Shockey in the middle and on a lot of the underneath stuff.
Now here's one example of what Bart Scott was telling us last night, Dan. Is they're not happy with the fact that they haven't been able to get off the field on third down as often as they'd like.
Well, it's a bugaboo for every defensive team in the league. They hate to see those chains get moved.
And Drew Brees calls a timeout. Well, the New England Patriots have knocked off Baltimore 27-21 in the ever-competitive AFC East. The Jets looking to stay ahead with a victory here. Otherwise, they'd fall into a 3-1 tie atop the division with New England. And they travel, the Jets do, to Miami for a Monday nighter next week.
Although the Jets do own a victory over New England.
3rd and 7. Drees under pressure. On the move, throws. It's incomplete out at the 15-yard line. Devery Henderson's intended receiver. And so the Jets do get off the field on third down as New Orleans about to kick the ball away.
Well, what the Jet defenders have to realize is, unlike Kerry Collins last week, Eric Smith just found it out there, and Tom Brady the week before, Drew Brees is a very elusive, moving target with wonderful pocket presence. Running in a straight line will not get Drew Brees if he sees you coming.
Leon Washington and Jim Leonard are deep for the kick. High kick. And it's going to drift out of bounds short of the 50-yard line. And again, a little pushing and shoving on the near sideline. And the officials get him separated.
It's like Wallace Wright, number 15, is right in the middle of it.
Ooh.
Oh!
That is a vicious hit by Leon Washington.
Leon Washington trying to lull Roby to sleep, and then he just launches himself right into his face, right in front of the Saints bench.
Now Leon at 5'8" and Roby at 6 feet, he had to elevate a little bit in order to get into his face. Got away without a penalty.
Well,
call.
the whistle,
Line of scrimmage, the 49.
You know, at that point, the whistle had not blown. He was just blocking. Now, I'm sure New Orleans thinks it was a cheap shot. It was in that gray area.
Direct snap to Washington to give to Brad Smith, and Smith around the right side breaks free, has a first down, and then some. Almost to the 30-yard line of the New Orleans Saints.
Well, again, Brian Schottenheimer now dialing up the Seminole directly to Leon Washington. He does a good fake like he's going left, but Brad Smith has the ball. And this former quarterback at the University of Missouri, he was a good passer, but an even better runner in college. And he's made the transition to a wide receiver, but he loves having the ball in his arm in an open field.
First down at the New Orleans 31. Once again, this time they fake it. Washington straight up the middle, just inside the 30-yard line before he takes a hit by Jonathan Vilma and Roman Harper. 2nd and 8. Sanchez gives to Jones, and Jones to about the 26. Talking with all of the Jets, they talked about they worked with noise in their ears all week long this week to prepare for the Superdome.
They said almost unbearable noise out at their training complex in New Jersey. They've got speakers on the sidelines. They had them cranked all the way up to the point where Mark Sanchez said, I look like Peyton Manning there with my hands over my ears trying to hear the call.
Sanchez, quick pass, that's complete. Inside the 20 to about the 17 is Cotchery, and that's a Jet first down.
Oh, a nice adjustment on the ball by Jericho Cotchery. Going to get a good look at it from behind here, but as you can see, that ball, instead of being in front of him, where he could have caught it in stride and really taken off, was actually behind him, and he had to do a pivot in midair. That was good, solid work by Cotchery that time.
3 catches, 27 yards for Jerricho Cotchery. Brad Smith now with the direct snap. Going to roll right. Can't pitch it, keeps it, and falls forward to the 15. Brian Schottenheimer is just cleaning out the playbook early.
We're still in the first quarter, and 3 different people have already taken the snap for the Jets. Joe Namath might be next.
And that looks like it'll be the last play of the first quarter. As the players move down to the other end, we'll take a timeout and tell you that that is the end of the first quarter here in the Superdome in New Orleans. Welcome back to New Orleans, everyone. With the Jets in the red zone, it's worth pointing out the New Orleans Saints have not been on the short end of the scoreboard yet all season long. Jets at the 15-yard line, 2nd and 8. Sanchez throwing, intercepted at the goal line, picked off by Darren Sharper. Sharper up the sideline. Sanchez not going to get him. This is going to be about a 98 or 99-yard return. There is a penalty marker, however, in the middle of the field.
And that penalty might be on Mark Sanchez for throwing himself into the legs.
The touchdown is good. We're in the return. Personal foul. Low block. Number 6 of the offense. 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
Well, Darren Sharper has more interceptions than any active player in the NFL, and all he did was play center field. Right there, you see Sanchez go in low on Jonathan Vilma. That's the penalty. That's the personal foul. But Darren Sharper just read the eyes all the way of Mark Sanchez. He never looked off, never looked away, and that was awfully easy.
Darren Sharper returned 197 yards at Philadelphia. That's his 4th pick of the season, and he's making it a habit of returning long ones for touchdown.
8 years with the Packers, Darren Sharper, and he's already building a Pro Bowl resume.
Carney's kick is good. 14:45 to play. 10 points. The most the Jets have trailed by all season long. 14:45 to play here in the first half. Welcome back, along with Dan Dierdorf and our CBS Sports crew, Greg Gumbel. Darren Sharper, 99 yards on the return. And this one, with the penalty added, goes into the seats. Let's go back to the touchdown.
Well, if you take, here's Darren Sharper right here. We got a 2-receiver set on the other side. Watch him just drift. He's going to drift right towards those 2 receivers, but just sit in between the 2, and then he just reads Mark Sanchez trying to get the ball into Dustin Keller. You can see Cotchery going to the inside, Keller to the outside, and so easy for Darren Sharper. And then the personal foul coming up on the left part of your screen. Here comes Mark Sanchez, who just really throws himself right into the knees of Jonathan Vilma.
Darren Sharper's interception was the 8th for the Saints this year. They lead the NFL in interceptions, and of course Sharper's individual accomplishments speak for themselves.
Well, anytime your name is mentioned with Rod Woodson, you're doing pretty well.
That's his 58th career interception. His 4th of the season.
When you're mentioned with a guy who just went into the Hall of Fame this year, you're doing all right.
So the Jets down 10 from their own 20. Thomas Jones. That 99-yarder, a franchise record, by the way, for the Saints. Quick pass to the near side. Chansey Stuckey, and Stuckey is out of bounds at about the 27-yard line. Stuckey's first catch of the day.
Well, this is going to happen to any quarterback. It's especially tougher on a young quarterback, especially on the road, especially against a very good football team. It's just exactly the one thing. You're in the red zone. You're looking at putting points on the board. You face adversity like this. A wonderful growing lesson, learning experience here for Mark Sanchez.
3rd and 3. Sanchez throwing out here, incomplete. In and out of the hands of Dustin Keller, and the Jets will kick it away.
Well, Roman Harper, the Saints defender, here on Keller as he comes off. And I'll tell you, he makes a good play going low, but when he gets up and shoves him, he's lucky he didn't get at the end of this. As Harper gets up, he gets up and gives a little bit of a shove to Keller. He got away with it.
Reggie Bush at his own 35 for the kick from Steve Weatherford. Off the side of his foot. Number 31, Chris Reese. Did he get a hand on that? He's being congratulated on the Saints sideline. The line of scrimmage is going to be the Jet 37. That's a 9-yard punt. Bill Levy conversing about a penalty marker with a couple of his officials.
The penalty marker is about 30 yards downfield from where the punt took place.
The football never got near that marker.
No, the flag's lying all the way back at the 40-yard line.
Here's Bill Levy. No, here's Bill Levy.
During the kick, ill use of the hands to the face by the receiving team. 5-yard penalty will be enforced from the spot of the foul. First down, timeout. The foul was against the receiving team. It's considered a 10-yard penalty for hands to the face. So we now enforce 10 yards to the 35, first down.
Well, first of all, because this penalty occurred after the kick, it is New Orleans football, but a break for the Jets because after that horrible punt by Weatherford that was almost blocked by Reese, they enforce the penalty 10 yards from the spot of the foul.
That's so almost a 30-yard gain for the New York Jets.
Yeah, absolutely.
Reggie Bush in the backfield gets the handoff, looking for running room, going to come this way. Trying to turn the corner, gets a block. Drew Brees threw the block out in front of him.
There's one of the reasons that he is the undisputed leader of this football team and embraced and loved by this town. Watch from the left. Here he comes right there. Drew Brees comes in and gets a pretty nice shot on Dwight Lowry. Very, very effective. I don't think he hurt Lowry, but he took him out of the play. Lowry was able to come back and get in on it, but good hustle by Drew Brees and great awareness by Reggie Bush.
First down, New Orleans at their own 47. Brees to throw. All kinds of time, and he's going to go deep. Incomplete at the 5-yard line. Intended for Robert Meacham.
On Dwight Lowry, excellent coverage. All right, Rivas is on the outside. He's going to follow. He's in a trail position. He can see Lowry coming in from the other side, and it's a good thing that Lowry came up from underneath because Darrelle Rivas was not in a position to make a play on Meacham. Ooh, and that's one of those plays that they probably connected on it 3 or 4 times during the week in practice.
And they say that'll work.
Yeah, well, it was good coverage there.
2nd and 10.
Kudos that time to Lowry.
This time from the shotgun. Here come the Jets. Quick pass right over the middle, and wide open is Marcus Colston for another first down.
Sean Payton told us one thing about Drew Brees. He said he decides and delivers better than anybody in the game right now. In other words, from the time the decision is made in the brain of Drew Brees to the split second that it leaves his fingertips is a very brief period of time. I always thought Dan Marino was the best I ever saw in that regard. And Drew Brees, he's getting mentions in that category.
Here's Reggie Bush. Bush bouncing outside, trying to turn the corner, and this time upended by Darrelle Revis, number 24.
Well, that's what happens when you get too close to Revis Island. Bad things happen to you. If you think Darrelle Revis is nothing more than a shutdown corner, man, that's going through, going high enough to get up around the knees, and Reggie Bush tried to leap over the top of it. Darrelle Revis, no longer a secret. Only his third year in the league, and he's in the upper echelon of NFL corners, and almost everybody knows about it.
2nd and 10 for the Saints. Brees setting up the screen, and here it is for Pierre Thomas. 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, out of bounds, short of the goal line. What a run by Pierre Thomas. David Harris saved the touchdown.
Well, Greg, this is our 3rd Jets game in a row. And one of the things about Rex Ryan's defense that I've been impressed with is that their tackling has been very, very good. And this is an instance of where their tackling was very bad. 3 separate misses along the way to a big play.
From the 1, Pierre Thomas is stacked up and doesn't reach the end zone. It'll be 2nd and goal.
Wouldn't you agree, in the games that we've seen, more often than not, the first guy there put the guy on the ground?
There has been a lot to be proud of for the New York Jet defense, and I think they're seeing a bit of a different animal here today in Drew Brees and the New Orleans offense.
Well, it's such a varied offense. So many different people participate in this. Sean Payton.
Hey, lose him.
There's not anybody in the NFL that doesn't recognize his offensive genius.
Heath Evans, Lionel Hamilton in the backfield. This is Evans, and Evans going to be stacked up short of the goal line. It'll be 3rd and goal.
Well, Sean Payton trying to get pretty cute there. Heath Evans not exactly a staple of the New Orleans running game.
And here we go. Tree still with the football, rolling, throwing, incomplete. That's a pretty good stand by the New York Jet defense.
Well, on short notice, because I think they were surprised by Brees getting up there and quick snapping the ball. That was sensational by the Jets defensively, covering everybody and taking away his targets.
And they're going to go for it here on 4th down. Now, the Jets have only allowed 2 offensive touchdowns all season long.
And they were both last week against Tennessee.
Evans and Hamilton again in the backfield. Play fake. Brees throws it incomplete, and the Jets will take over. Welcome back to the Superdome in New Orleans. There's a final score from Cleveland, the Cincinnati Bengals in overtime, 23-20 over the Cleveland Browns. Dan, you think about it, the Bengals are a freaky tipped pass from being 4-0.
Yes, they are. And now that's a surprise.
The Jets start deep in their own end zone. Thomas Jones for a couple. Let's go back to that 4th down play.
Yeah, let's go back and take a look at it. Remember, they ran this quickly. This fella right here is a backup offensive lineman. That's Jamar Nesbitt. And he's actually an eligible receiver. He reported to the officials. And Brees, while he wasn't his first target, ultimately tried to force the ball into him at the end when the Jets took away everybody else. That, you can't overstate what a good stand that was defensively by the guys in green.
2nd and 7. Sanchez.
Look out.
Under pressure. Got hit from behind. Loose in the end zone. Touchdown, New Orleans. Remy Adel pressed into a starting role with the injury to Kendrick Clancy. Recovered the ball in the end zone.
A quarterback has to have a clock in the back of his head Mark Sanchez in his own end zone ultimately tries to throw the ball, but Will Smith, coming from his backside, strips him, and then it's just easy pickings for Adele. But again, you're looking, but you're in your own end zone. You've got to have some awareness of how long you have been there and how long can you expect your offensive lineman to keep people away.
It is known by the defense and it's known by the Jets that Mark Sanchez has been coughing it up a little too much this early part of the season.
How about Will Smith? What kind of a start to a season is he? He had an interception in last week's game up in Buffalo, and now a strip sack in the end zone.
You see the numbers on Sanchez so far. Today, the Saints have 14 points off of his 2 turnovers. And Leon Washington will take a knee in the end zone, and the Jets will begin first down at their own 20-yard line. So Sanchez will come back out again. He 1 out of 3 with 8 yards, an interception, and an interception return for a touchdown, sacked in the fumble return against Houston. He's a rookie.
Could you have a quarterback rating in negative numbers if it was possible? That's where it would spring up.
The rookie Sean Green is into the backfield. 3rd-round pick out of Iowa, gets the handoff, gets running room across the 25 to about the 28-yard line.
Well, the Jets would be served if they could do a whole bunch of this to try to just let Mark Sanchez catch his breath and get oriented once again.
Green is still in there on 2nd and 1. Brad Smith goes in motion. Green gets the handoff and gets a first down and then some across the 35 before Charles Grant pulls him down.
You know, Sean Green is a kid that the Jets really like, and let's be realistic, they haven't exactly gotten Thomas Jones loose a great deal here in the first 4 games of the season. Jones is averaging 3.8 yards per carry, and you know, a guy that had 1,300 plus last year. They just haven't gotten it going, so give Green an opportunity.
Meanwhile, those were his first 2 carries of the season. First down. The fake, the quick pass, and Brad Smith gets hit. Tracy Porter with the knock on Smith.
Well, take my word for it. You got to be a tough guy to do this. Brad Smith knows there is contact at the end of this play. And he held on to it, got up, no complaining, just went back to the huddle. That's a pretty big hit for a couple of yards.
2nd and 6 after a 4-yard gain. Leon Washington back into the backfield for the Jets. Short drop, Sanchez pulls it down, and he's going to run it. And he's out to about the 43 or 44-yard line. Anthony Hargrove with the stop.
Now, Mark Sanchez is an outstanding athlete, a guy that he will take off and run with it. Anybody who saw the Jets game a week ago well aware of that.
You know, I asked Ryan Schottenheimer when we talked to him last night, is there anything in the playbook that you look at and you go, no, I don't want to let him do that? No such thing. Now Sanchez flanked to the near side of the field. The direct snap, Leon Washington gets the first down, close to midfield.
And that is a good offensive scheme. You've got 2 really different kind of guys that have the ability to take that direct snap. Leon Washington gets the bulk of it, but Brad Smith can do it as well. And again, you turn the quarterback position into a running position. You know, it's the Seminole with the Jets. It's the Wildcat with other people. It's just the old single wing. It's what the leather helmet guys used to run.
Sanchez on the move. Has a first down and out of bounds inside the New Orleans 40-yard line.
Well, and you can see Mark's knee brace slid down his calf. He's got to take it all the way off before he can put it back on. I'll say this. he faked the pass. Okay, now put it away, Mark.
That's not putting it away, Dan.
No, it's not. And then he's going to switch it over to his left hand and hold it out there. I'm not saying you got to look like a fullback for Woody Hayes with an over and under, but a little tighter to your body might be a little more secure.
As you mentioned, point of emphasis this week from the coaches,
to say the least.
First down at the 39. Thomas Jones, a couple to the 36. 5:20 to play here in the first half, and the clock is running.
Well, Sean Payton knows that he's got a good football team this year. He thinks that they have crested the hill defensively with the addition of Greg Williams as their defensive coordinator. He feels they're a much more aggressive, much more competent unit to offset what they already have, a dynamite offense.
The rookie Sean Green is back into the backfield on 2nd and 7. And he gets the handoff, looking for running room and forward to about the 32-yard line. Cedric Ellis with the stop there. There's Greg Williams.
Former coach of the Buffalo Bills, longtime defensive coordinator of the Tennessee Titans, served a little time in Washington. No one has ever disputed his ability to run a defense. He's in that upper echelon of defensive coordinators, and Sean Payton jumped at the chance to hire him.
3rd and 3. This is a 48-yard drive for the Jets to this point. Sanchez throwing out. That is complete. Washington, did he make the first down yardage?
I don't think so.
He is about a yard short at the 30. Darren Sharper came up from the safety position to make the stop.
Boy, the old man can still play football, can he? We saw that Darren Sharper can get an interception and run it the rest of the way, but how about that tackle? How about that sure tackle? After contact, Leon Washington didn't get a half a yard.
And we saw the Saints go for it on 4th down. The Jets are going to do that here at the New Orleans 30.
That'd be a 47 or 48-yard field goal.
And we get a whistle before the snap. This doesn't count.
Watch out now.
Tony Richardson taking umbrage. How do you take umbrage anyway?
Before the snap, timeout, New Orleans. That's their second charge timeout.
So that stops the clock
timeout.
with 3:23 to play here in the second half. 4th and 1 for the Jets at the New Orleans 30. They break the huddle with Richardson and Thomas Jones in the backfield. Sanchez fakes, rolling, has the first down as he dives to about the 27.
So difficult for a defense to account on a short yardage play like that for a quarterback who can run as well as Mark Sanchez runs. You got to play your gaps. You got everybody in there. An outstanding ball fake. There's just hardly anything you can do about it.
Roman Harper caught between a rock and a hard place, whether he should drop into coverage or pursue Sanchez. By the time he made his decision, it was too late. First down at the New Orleans 26. This is Washington trying to pick his way through at the line and comes to a halt at about the 23.
And let's just take a look at this game in general, Greg. If the Jets can get this thing into the end zone and make this a 17-7 halftime, Rex Ryan might even run into the locker room. He'll be that happy. When you consider that if his team can fight their way back to get within 10 after what's happened to them in this game on the road, he'd have to be pleased.
56-yard drive by the Jets. Play clock down to 2. They get the play off. Sanchez on the move and completes it. And just at the 20-yard line is Leon Washington.
See, this is This is, again, why the Jets and their fans are so high on Mark Sanchez. His ability to move around. Look at that. That's a total sidearm throw. That thing's almost underhand.
There's the timeout situation. Jets have 2. New Orleans has 1 59-yard drive. 3rd and 4 for the Jets. Sanchez from the shotgun. Going to throw it down the sideline for Brad Smith. Tipped away by Jabari Greer, number 32.
Well, and now the Jets are going to go for 3 points. Mark Sanchez finds single coverage. There's no safety able to come over and help, but Jabari Greer on the route the whole way. Never a doubt. He's just pretty routinely able to tip it with his left hand. Unfortunately, he didn't tip it very far. It almost caromed right to Smith.
Feely, 19 straight field goals made. This from 38, make it 20 in a row. So with 1:48 to play here in the second half, the Jets dent the scoreboard. It's now New Orleans 17 and the Jets 3.
Well, there's the story of the game, considering we have a 14-point differential between the Saints and the Jets. And Sean Payton on the other sideline right now, you know, he's not thinking conservatively. He's not thinking about just running a couple off guard plays. When you got this guy, Drew Brees, they are what they are, which is to be aggressive.
On the plus side for Rex Ryan, he can tell his guys at halftime, hey, we finished up with a 14-play, 60-yard drive and held on to the football for 7 minutes and 12 seconds.
And that is a plus. They would have obviously preferred to finish with a touchdown, but still to get points, just take that collective deep breath and settle down.
I'm going to guess when you have no points on the board, 3 points is a plus.
Well, when you have no points on the board, let me tell you, it makes halftime a whole lot longer if you're an offensive player.
This is Courtney Roby, and he won't run this one out, so the Saints will begin from their own 20-yard line.
You know, keep in mind, it's one thing to have it happen in your own territory, but that interception, when you were on your way in to come out of it with points, that's a double hit.
Drew Brees with time, throwing, incomplete at the 45-yard line. Pass intended for Marcus Colston, and number 30, Drew Coleman, was there.
Well, Marcus Colston, of course, you know, he loves playing the Jets, playing his college ball at Hofstra, where the Jets used to train. But
trained right in his backyard.
Absolutely. So, you know, he saw the Jets all the time he was in college. That was one of the rare times where he and Drew Brees, I don't think, were synced up, because Colston broke off his route, and Brees was expecting him to go deeper. And I think that was why there was an overthrow.
Short pass is complete. Now to the 25 is Jeremy Shockey. You know, in talking with Drew Brees yesterday, it's pretty interesting. You know, quarterbacks often go back and find out as much about a defense as they can. He said he went all the way back to look at a Rex Ryan defense in the 06 season.
Yeah, because Baltimore put it to the Saints that day. Drew Brees and the Saints turned it over 5 different times. So that wasn't a very pleasant experience going back and watching that tape.
Brees again with time, throwing over the middle, and that's caught by Colston out to about the 41-yard line or so, and it'll be a first down. We are under a minute to play, and the whistle blows, and it looks like the Saints have used their 3rd and final timeout.
Boy, and Drew Brees got to sit in the pocket. We're used to seeing quarterbacks going against the Jets getting hit, knocked down, and running for their lives. Not here. Sean Payton's team protects Drew Brees so well. He sacked only 13 times last year in a 16-game season. That was out of 635 attempts. That means the line is doing a great job, but maybe even more importantly, the quarterback is decisive and gets rid of the football.
Brees Under pressure, got rid of it, and over the middle, incomplete. Knocked down by Darrelle Revis. That pass intended for Colston. Stops the clock with 54 seconds to play.
Well, that was a nifty little blitz there by the Jets. Ran a little loop at the last minute. Take a look at it here on the lower right portion of your screen. See Bart Scott, how he loops back to the inside. He's intended to go upfield, and then at the last minute, he loops into that void and gets the hit on Breeze. Boy, there's a lot to like about Bart Scott.
2nd and 10. Remember, the Saints are out of timeouts. Breeze with time, throws near side and just off the fingertips of Heath Evans. That's a catchable ball. It's 3rd and 10. Talk about tough football players, Dan. We talked to Jim Leonard last night. Remember when he walked into the room and none of us could believe? I mean, the numbers say 5'8", 186, but...
Well, by NFL terms, even if that's accurate, 5'8", 186 is awfully small. And he looks smaller than that. And he won't be happy to hear us say that.
Hard-nosed as they come. Play clock down to 1. And
Breeze...
He doesn't have any timeouts to burn.
Yeah, so he can signal all he wants. It's just delay a game.
3rd down.
There's Jim Leonard.
What I talked earlier about the addition of he and Bart Scott and what a real wonderful thing that has been for the Jets defense. They've been coaches on the field, but their performance on the field, and Leonard, of course, has a very good punt returner. You saw the difference in the game last week. Tennessee couldn't return a punt. Leonard's very good at it.
Rex Ryan came over from Baltimore and dragged Jim Leonard along with him. Tree's going to go deep. Incomplete. Intended for Devery Henderson, and Dwight Lowry was right alongside.
Well, Dwight Lowry has had a very active first half. Remember, he's starting for Lito Shepherd, and he's done a pretty good job so far. Donald Strickland inactive today as well, the normal nickelback. He's got a bad ankle.
Worth pointing out, Dan, the Saints offense has 3 points on the board today. The defense has put up 14. Here's Leonard. And the fair catch is made at the 25-yard line. With 36 seconds to play in the first half, Jets with the ball and 2 timeouts.
Well, there's Chris Jenkins, a real leader on this team and a real established NFL veteran with 9 years, and that's what a leader does. That's what that's a veteran play right there.
As if you're not going to listen to a guy with arms that big.
Well, first of all, when you put an arm that big on his shoulder, your knees buckle to start with. But really, that was that's a classy thing. That's a real pro. That's the way a pro acts.
From their own 25, the Jets with 36 seconds and 2 timeouts. Sanchez under pressure and holds onto it and goes down at the 20. Charles Grant.
Well, the Saints had 8 guys on the line of scrimmage and then dropped 4 of them. And they get in there with only a 4-man rush. That's very disappointing.
Sanchez. This is Washington, and Washington at about the 23-yard line. Loose football, but the whistle is blown.
And I think that'll do it.
Time runs down here in the first half. It has been a New Orleans day so far. 17-3 is the game score. All week long, the Jets have been talking about ball security, and probably at halftime, too. You can't blame a New York Jet defense, which has held the highest scoring team in the league to 3 points.
I'm sure if you asked Rex Ryan coming into this game, if at halftime we could limit Drew Brees to 104 yards passing and no touchdown passes, he'd say, sign me up right now. Of course, who could imagine that his quarterback is going to serve up 2 touchdowns to the New Orleans defense as easily as he did.
Coming to you, as always, in high definition. The Jets will get their hands on the football. You want another ray of light if you're a New York Jets follower? The Jets showed they can move the ball very well up and down the field in the first half on offense.
And they put some points on the board, so they're still in this game. It's far from over.
Leon Washington going to run this one out from 2 yards deep. And not going to get back to the 15-yard line. Courtney Roby, number 15, making the stop. So onto the field comes Mark Sanchez. His numbers in the first half, 9 out of 14. Made reference to this earlier, Dan, that when we talked with Brian Schottenheimer, he says there really isn't anything he would hold back. They said they like how courageous he is, but we tell him he has to be smart too.
Well, he is a rookie. You knew moments like this were going to come. It's inevitable, but you got to recover from them.
And he's going to throw on first down, and he goes down. Charles Grant again, 3rd sack of the day of Sanchez.
Well, this is when it's very difficult to be an offensive lineman because they're not really respecting the running game, and Damian Woody has got the blocking responsibility, but he catches his feet. He gets pushed back to the inside, and then his legs give out on him. Charles Grant just overpowered Woody, and Mark Sanchez again, no place to go.
Loss of 5, 2nd and 15. Pump fake over the middle, and that's complete across the 30, and a penalty marker is down. Dustin Keller with the catch.
And that was a laser from Mark Sanchez.
Now let's check the flag.
Personal foul, helmet-to-helmet contact, number 42 defense. 15-yard penalty, first down.
That's Sharper.
Well, Darren Sharper, the free safety, he's coming in there from the left. Boy, that looked to me like that looked like a lot of shoulder. Let's look at it from this angle. Man, I think he hit him more with the shoulder than he did with the helmet.
I think you're right.
I don't think that's you can understand what the back judge saw, but I think Darren Sharper intended to hit with the shoulder and did hit with the shoulder.
There's Sean Green, the rookie, and he will get to midfield for a pickup of about 3. Well, you talk about a big penalty. It was a 23-yard gain, 15 yards added on for a 38-yard pickup for the Jet offense. 2nd and 7.
Yeah, I think that we saw Darren Sharper looking up at the video replay board. I'm sure he's thinking to himself, well, I'm probably going to get fined for a helmet-to-helmet, but I just don't think that was helmet-to-helmet.
Sean Green is the leading rusher on the day for the Jets.
Grant looks like he's lined up offsides.
2nd and 7. Sanchez on the move, rolling, throws it away.
Actually, it was Bobby McCray, the left defensive end. It looked to me like he was down in his stance with his helmet clear into the neutral zone.
Go back and take a look at Darren Sharper's hit one more time.
I mean, I'm giving you my opinion, but that, to me, the helmet is off to the side. That's just not you can't avoid all contact with your helmet. It can't be done. You're moving at full speed. I think he hit 90% of that contact was with the shoulder.
3rd and 7. Play clock down to 2. Sanchez gets the snap, under pressure, throws to the near side, broken up. Jabari Greer broke up the pass intended for Jericho Cotchery, and the Jets will kick.
Boy, and Mark Sanchez stood in there. He knew he was going to get popped. There's the blitzer coming in from the backside. Harper, he's not accounted for. All the blocking is going to the front side. Harper does a good job of going by and making it mostly an arm tackle, but Sanchez bounced off the field pretty good.
Reggie Bush deep for Weatherford's kick. Fair catch called for and made at the 14-yard line. You know, we made mention of the fact that the Jets defense has played well, but to the naked eye, you'd have to say the Saints have been applying more quarterback pressure today than the Jets have.
Yes, they have, but the Jets nonetheless have been effective. But you're right.
Breeze on first down. Pump fake. Throwing. Oh, incomplete. Almost a pretty good catch on the near side by Marcus Colston.
Well, Drew Brees, this is a classic, what you call a back shoulder throw. You're putting it to where the receiver makes the adjustment back because of the cover of Darrelle Revis. And just a beautiful throw, but Colston trying to pull the ball in just loses the handle on it, and it drops.
Breeze 0 for his last 4 throwing. He's going to throw it again. Setting up a little short pass to the near side. And that's Pierre Thomas. And he is wrapped up at the 15-yard line by Kerry Rhodes.
And again, you look at how sound this Jets defense is. Drew Brees is not finding people running around here. The cover, he's had to check down a great deal. And more often than not, when he has checked down, there's been a Jets defender right there on top of him. What an improvement from a year ago. What Rex Ryan has done with this defensive football team. Yes, they've had a couple of good additions, but man, the enthusiasm and their attention to detail off the charts.
Now Breeze has Reggie Bush in the backfield on 3rd and 8. Breeze over the middle, knocked down, incomplete. Darrelle Revis with the play. Robert Meacham, the intended receiver.
See, Darrelle Revis is locking up on Marcus Colston unless Colston goes into the slot. And in that situation, Revis is going to stay outside. And he just saw that coming the whole way. He just timed it at the last minute to just take that left arm and deftly reach in there and knock it away from Meacham.
Jim Leonard back at his own 36-yard line for the kick. High and short. And it takes a New Orleans bounce into Jet territory. And it's going to come to rest at about the 42.5-yard line. Approaching Cafe Du Monde, the streets of New Orleans, and Dan Dierdorf's personal chariot awaits.
I know that all is right with the world. I had my shrimp po' boy from Mother's. That's all that matters. Life is smooth sailing from here on out.
Land of my birth.
That's right. Your hometown.
Every other person in the stands is a relative. Here are the Jets. First down now at their own 43-yard line. Sanchez will start with a handoff to Thomas Jones and a little burst across the 45 to about the 48.
Well, you got 4 number 1s on that offensive line of the Jets. This is a time to earn some money because this game is still there. This game is still there to be had.
That 6-yard run, Thomas Jones' longest of the day. He'll get another shot here, left side, across midfield and into New Orleans territory. And New England a winner earlier. Miami trying to get on the winning side of the ledger. The Jets trying to stay ahead of the Patriots. 3rd and 1. Sanchez going to throw for it, incomplete.
Well, Randall Gay has been around the NFL for a long time. Played his college ball right up the road in Baton Rouge, and he is just all over Chancey Stuckey. That's one of those predetermined routes you're just going to raise up and throw it, and the Jets offensively just can't seem to get any mojo.
Lance Moore standing back at his 10-yard line. Weatherford lofts it up and goes into the end zone for a touchback. This is Pierre Thomas. Pierre Thomas cutting back inside, has a first down across the 30. We have a late flag in the backfield.
Holding, number 73 offense, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Right guard Jerry Evans.
Sean Payton thinks that Jerry Evans is the best right guard in football. He couldn't be any higher on his talented right guard. And of course, he's also got another good one on the other side in Carl Nix. Made the all-rookie team last year as a first-year guy. So
And these two coaches, Sean Payton, Rex Ryan, you sit, you talk to them, you want to suit up and go out.
well, and you know something? If you put the two of them in a room together, you know they would really like each other. They're similar in a lot of ways.
Breeze, gonna throw over the middle to the 30-yard line is Jeremy Shockey. That is a first down.
Well, and Jeremy Shockey, who battled injuries all of last year, didn't even get in the end zone once. We know what kind of talent this guy has. We saw it for years with the Giants, 4 times a Pro Bowler. And again, he's just a complement to this offense. You like that. You like to see a guy with 100% completion percentage here, thrown 2-3, 3 receptions to show for it.
On first down, here's Reggie Bush. And loose football. Jets say they have it.
Reggie with a rather weak attempt at saying I was
They
down.
do.
That was one of the more half-hearted attempts I've ever seen by a running back to say that he was down.
Dwight Lowery made the recovery.
Let's watch it. Well, that's why it was a half-hearted attempt. The ball came out well before Reggie Bush's knee touches the ground. He's losing it right there.
And Dwight Lowery says, look what's bouncing to me.
And see, look at the ball. Yeah, he's not down, not close to being down.
That's the second fumble lost by Reggie Bush here in the 09 season and sets the Jets up.
Well, you don't get
at the
this.
New Orleans 34.
Greg, you don't get this many opportunities when you're behind. The Jets have to capitalize here.
Knocked down at the line of scrimmage by Charles Grant, who is just playing a whale of a football game.
No kidding. A couple of sacks. Now he gets a batted pass. A nice adjustment at the very end by Grant. He's moving to his right, but he has enough wherewithal to elevate and get his left hand up there and enough eye-hand coordination to get a hand on the ball.
2nd and 10. Jones. Inside the 30, just barely. Vilma and Greer making the stop. You know, Jonathan Vilma, they are so happy to have him here in New Orleans, and he's an ex-New York Jet.
Well, we know what this game means to Jonathan Vilma. We talked to him about it. He and Eric Mangini could not have parted on any worse terms than they did. Vilma loved being in New York, but Mangini just didn't think that he fit his system at all. Mistake.
Sanchez trying to make something happen on 3rd and 6. Throws far side. This is Leon Washington. First down and more inside the 20 to about the 15-yard line.
A well-designed and well-executed quick screen. Good look off by Mark Sanchez. Sanchez comes back. He gets a nice block on the outside by Kotchery. And then DeBrickashaw Ferguson for the big guy. Look at him getting downfield and getting in on the action. Nice call by Schottenheimer.
First down from the 15. Jones to the 10. 5. Touchdown.
We got a game. The Jets did what they had to do. Reggie Bush made the mistake, and they made the Saints pay for it.
Thomas Jones' 3rd rushing touchdown of the season.
Nice little cutback right here by Jones, and then he sees that crease. Excellent job by the offensive line.
Sanchez and the Jets go 34 yards in 1:16. And the extra point is good. 7 minutes, 48 seconds to play in the 3rd.
This crowd at the Superdome is sitting on their hands right now.
From the 20, Pierre Thomas, running room, 25, 30, 35, and out to about the 38 or the 39-yard line. Pierre Thomas came into the game at Buffalo in the second half and had 126 yards and 2 touchdowns on 14 carries.
Take a look at that massive shift by the Jets defensively. You'll see it a lot of times. They make a big adjustment like that, and all of a sudden there's a hole, and then Jim Leonard comes in. Rather than trying to wrap up, he goes for the cut down by the ankles and slides underneath.
Thomas again. And Thomas out to the 45, where David Harris and Mike DeVito combined to wrap him up.
Well, Sean Payton showed everybody last week that as much as he loves to throw the football, when he's in a jam, he will hand it to a running back. And they've got quite a group of them here. You know, Mike Bell, their leading rusher, he's sitting this one out. He's missed the last couple of games. He hurt his MCL back in the Philadelphia game. So it's the second week of the season. But last week, Pierre Thomas was the hero, but they gave him a chance.
On 2nd and 3, here's Thomas again. First down and more. Inside the Jet 40 to about the 37-yard line. And Pierre Thomas eating up yardage like it's lunch.
Yeah, we're talking about huge holes. It's not like he's breaking tackles at the line of scrimmage. Take a look at that thing. David Harris gets pinned to the inside, Golston to the outside. Look at Pierre Thomas. He is like 12 yards downfield before he has to even make a cut. Chris Jenkins slants to the inside, but that takes him way out of the play.
First down now at the 37. Breeze flips it out to Shockey. And Jim Leonard. Jeremy Shockey, 6'5", 251. Jim Leonard at 5'8", 186.
Leonard got him finally. That was a nice call by Sean Payton, though. After a couple of very successful runs, go with the play action. Drew all the Jets linebackers up into the holes around the line of scrimmage, and then Breeze breaks contain.
Second and 5, back to the ground game, back to Pierre Thomas, and this time he gets stacked up at about 32.5. DeVito again in on the play, this time with Marcus Morrell.
And Morrell and DeVito both did a good job of relocating the line of scrimmage. They got on the other side of the ball. Thomas had no shot.
And in our conversations with Rex Ryan, as tough as this Jet defense has been this season, and they get Calvin Pace back on Monday.
And Calvin Pace is probably their best pass rusher. And he's able to report to the complex tomorrow morning, and Rex Ryan will welcome him with wide open arms.
Reggie Bush in there on 3rd and 5. Bush inside the 30 and very close to a first down.
Reggie Bush, a little ball security on this carry, wouldn't you say? Look, check this out. Both hands on the football, and neither hand ever comes off of the ball. That is not a look that we're used to seeing from the flashy Reggie Bush.
And we're going to get a measurement here. Looks to be a little short from here.
Be my guess.
It's a little short. 4th down. What's Sean Payton going to do?
Well, it'll be about a 46, 47-yard field goal. It would give the Jets good field position if they missed.
Drew Brees is still on the field.
Carney's longest field goal made this year is 39 yards.
They'll go for it.
Yeah, I think that's just at a point where Sean Payton's thinking Carney, that's on the outer limits of his effectiveness.
4th and inches. Heath Evans, the fullback. Pierre Thomas lining up behind it. It's Thomas. Let's see where they spot this ball. I think they're short again.
Bart Scott there at the bottom, sauntering over towards the Saints bench. He's talking to Gary. He's talking to Sean Payton, I think. He looks like he's talking to the Saints head coach. Payton, of course, is paying no attention to him.
Looks like Sean Payton is calling the next play. He thinks he's made it. Not even close.
No, not even close. Boy, and once again, Rex's defense comes up big for the Jets. Welcome back to New Orleans. An unorthodox look by the Jets. Only 3 down linemen, but nonetheless, they stuffed the line of scrimmage. Boa, Jenkins, Sean Ellis. Man, did they jam it up.
You can't say enough about the Jet defense and their performance here today. 17-10 Jets, 3:52 to play. Sanchez got rid of it. Keller cut down at about the 30. There's the Jet defense taking a well-deserved breather on the bench.
Yeah, that time the Saints had a good drive going, but then it stalled, and it stalled because of some superior work by the Jets defense. They have turned in so far a winning performance here this afternoon as we move towards the end of the third. It's the Jets offense that's put them in this hole.
On 2nd and 8, Leon Washington. Room to run across the 35 to the 36. Going to be about a yard and a half shy of a first down.
Well, the Jets right now have got to be feeling so fortunate that they're within a touchdown of tying this game, and they're starting to look like it offensively. They've got a little energy that we haven't seen in a while. If they're able to convert this 3rd and short, you might see these guys, their energy levels start to skyrocket.
On the day, the Jets 23 rushes, 24 passes. 3rd and 1. Sanchez going to throw incomplete. Stucking the intended receiver, Randall Gay, with another big play on defense.
Well, 3rd and short, where you think they might run the ball, the Jets show a lot of confidence in Mark Sanchez in going back there, and Randall Gay drove right through the Jet player to make that play.
That one never had a chance.
No. Well, he got there early, but again, he got away with it.
Reggie Bush inside his own 25 for the kick from Weatherford. Boy, high booming kick, and Bush from his 12 to the 25, 30, and forward to about the 34-yard line before he's wrestled to a stop. And again, a little bit of pushing and shoving and a helmet rolling on the field. Breeze and the Saints from their own 34. This is Pierre Thomas across the 35 to the 38.
Greg, are the Jets ever going after the football? One guy's trying to make the tackle and 2 guys are coming in going for the strip.
Remember we were talking with Rex last night and we said, well, this is a league that adjusts, and do you think that you have to change as you go along? He goes, no.
No, Rex changes for no one. And he's got his scheme, and he thinks it works against everything. He may tweak it, but he'll never modify it that much.
Breeze to throw on 2nd and 6. Has time, pulls it down. He's going to run. Dodging tacklers and across the 45 for a first down.
Now, he's done that his entire career. Got a modest response from the crowd. But Drew Brees is so good on his feet. He's just got, you ask any player around the league about his pocket presence, but that's, he made the decision that he was going to run for it, and once he did that, you have to admit he's pretty nimble on his feet.
I don't know who's done more embracing, Brees of the city or the city of Drew Brees.
It is a mutual love affair they've got going.
Brees going to throw, has time, throws far sideline, almost picked off. Darrelle Revis was there.
Well, Marcus Colston is number 12. Great jam by Darrelle Revis. But look at him. I'm really shocked that Drew Brees made that throw. I am really surprised.
You wonder what he saw over there.
I don't know. Revis had the superior position, he looked more like the receiver than Colston did.
Revis Island looking pretty good once again today. 2nd and 10. This is Pierre Thomas. Wrapped up at the 47.
I know we're only 25% of the way through the season after today, but if Darrelle Revis isn't a Pro Bowler and an All-Pro at the end of this year, there's been some voters then that haven't seen the Jets play. If he continues this type of performance for the balance of the season, I think Nnamdi Asomugha of the Raiders is on a certain level, and Darrelle Revis has joined him. That level used to be occupied by Champ Bailey, but I'm not sure he's still there.
Here's a big 3rd and 8 facing Drees. Pass is complete to the near side to Devery Henderson, and he's going to be brought down short of the 1st down. Welcome back to New Orleans for the start of the 4th quarter. The rookie punter, Thomas Morstead, will try to pin the Jets deep in their own territory. Leonard makes the catch at the 10-yard line. So that is where Sanchez and company will get started. Greg Gumbel, Dan Dierdorf, our producer Mark Wolf, our director Bob Fishman, and the rest of our CBS Sports crew here in the Big Easy.
And the crowd is a little uneasy after the New Orleans stalled at 17 points. And again, they're not used to this. The New Orleans offense has contributed a field goal, which they did on the opening drive of the game.
It's become pretty apparent that the most noise the Jets heard this week was at their own practice session.
A very good observation.
Although they're getting a little noisy now with the Jets down at their own 10. Thomas Jones. You made a point of asking Rex Ryan about breaking Thomas Jones free one of these days very soon.
Yeah, and it's been a frustration for the Jets that they just haven't gotten the running game going as much as they would like. Now they know a lot of that is because of Mark Sanchez, that they're facing 8 guys in the box, that they're intentionally doing that, daring the Jets to throw.
Jones again across the 15 and out to about the 18-yard line where Darren Sharper came up to make the stop, and it'll be 3rd and about 2.
Well, and there's a good look at the fact that Sharper, the free safety, made that tackle at about 1 yard into their own territory right there. That's how close he was playing to the line, how quickly he supports.
Here come the Saints fans. 3rd and 2. Jones never got close to the 1st down. Scott Fujita, Bobby McCray led the charge. Reggie Bush back at his own 45. Steve Weatherford trying to kick the Jets out of trouble. High floater, far sideline. Fair catch called for. Then he let it bounce, and it took a Jets bounce inside the 30 all the way to the 26-yard line. That's a Jet fan in full gear.
Not sure he knows what's happening.
From the 26-yard line, Breeze going to give it to Pierre Thomas, and Thomas maybe a yard. You know, we said it before, it bears repeating. This New York Jet defense has held the #1 offense in the league to 3 points.
Well, and keep in mind that Drew Brees at this point is 14 of 26 for 138 yards with 0 touchdowns. Since that first drive, check it out. 7 possessions, 4 punts, 2 downs, and 2 on downs and a fumble.
2nd and 9. Breeze under pressure. Throws for Bush. Bush. Pollard at about the 30-yard line. Kerry Rhodes up from the safety position.
Well, again, we've talked all game about how well Drew Brees moves, Take a look how he makes people miss and then just flicks that back. How close is this ball to being on the ground? Well, it's on the ground, but the question is it in the control of Reggie Bush? The ball can touch the ground if it's under control. It's not often that you see the ball on the ground that much and still under control, but the Jets apparently aren't going to challenge.
On 3rd and 6, Breeze got rid of it, throwing and hit his man across the 45. David Thomas with the catch.
Well, instead of Jeremy Shockey, it's David Thomas. And again, it's Drew Brees letting everybody get in on the action. He split out as a wide receiver, even though he's a tight end. And Bart Scott went for the big hit and the big jam at the line of scrimmage and missed. A really good job of Thomas of eluding Bart Scott at the line. And Brees found him.
18-yard pickup. First down, New Orleans at their own 48. 10:45 to play in regulation. Thomas into Jets territory and then some. To the 45.
You know, Pierre Thomas was the leading rusher for the Saints last year. The guy scored 9 touchdowns. And there's hardly enough room for people after Mike Bell and Reggie Bush and all the attention they get. But Pierre Thomas, he's
and another one of those guys who was undrafted, and you wonder just how did that happen.
Yeah, a free agent, played his college ball for the Fighting Illini, Illinois.
13 carries, 62 yards today for Thomas. 2 tight ends on 2nd and 3. The give is to Thomas. And he'll be short of a first down. About 2 yards short. It'll be 3rd and 2.
Well, Brian Schottenheimer and Mark Sanchez going over what they're going to try to do on the next possession. I'm sure right now it's a game that's still winnable. But in the back of Mark Sanchez's mind, there's got to be a lot of disappointment in putting his team in a hole, especially realizing how well their defense is playing.
Reggie Bush on the field, 3rd and 2. On the roll, pass is complete, and did he make the first down? Lance Moore was hit.
I don't think so.
By Drew Coleman.
Lance Moore has got to run this pattern. He makes a sensational catch, but he's got to run that pattern another yard or 2 deeper.
And they're lining up for 4th down right here. 4th and 1. And he's going to sneak it, but there is a whistle, and the Jets call timeout.
Before the snap.
Well, Sean Payton's livid that timeout didn't get called in time. Well, who called that last timeout for the New York Jets? Let's look right there. There's Rex Ryan. He's calling it right now. And the official blows the whistle and grants it to him about a nanosecond before the snap of that football.
Now there's a challenge flag down on the Jets side of the field. And a play has not been run yet, so if it's on the previous play, Rex still has the right to challenge it. Bill Levy.
Can't call back-to-back timeouts.
There is no challenge on the previous play. 4th down.
I thought it was very close as to whether or not there was a false start if the entire Saints defense was set prior to the snap, but the snap never happened.
Right. Meanwhile, the Jets have held the Saints on 4th down today. 0 for 2 today. The opponents are 0 for 6 on 4th down conversion attempts on the season. This is a big one. That'll be an easy first. Chris Jenkins.
Great job
in the 77
by Drew Brees
with
the hard count on his cadence. Let's listen in. That's called a hard count, and Drew Brees did it to perfection.
Moves the line of scrimmage now to the Jet 37. First down for New Orleans. They lead 17-10, 9:06 to play in the fourth. Brees. Little shovel pass straight ahead. Loose ball. Looked like it bounced right back to the Saints.
Well, Pierre Thomas, he had it, turned to do something with it, and then it got knocked out of his hands. I think David Harris might have been the Jet that got a hit, and Drew Brees has no helmet.
But he has the ball.
I tell you, is this guy active or what? We saw him earlier in the game get a block on an end around. Yep, David Harris with the right hand knocks the ball loose. And Drew Brees had a helmet on his head going into that scrum. Came out without one.
2nd and 10. Heath Evans, first man through. Down to the 31.
That's winning football. That is why the Jets right now are 3-0 and are still in this game, even with an offense that's given up 2 touchdowns. That is most impressive.
Mark Sanchez sneaks a peek at the clock. Coming up on 7:45 to play. And Drew Brees is going to call a timeout here after he lets a few more ticks off the clock. 7:41 to play. Back at the Superdome, 7:41 to play in the fourth quarter. 2 timeouts remaining for each team. New Orleans looking at a 3rd and 4. From the shotgun, Brees on the slant, hit his man inside the 20, inside the 15 to the 12 is Robert Meacham.
It's one of the things that Sean Payton and Drew Brees both talked about. The confidence that Brees has in so many receivers other than Marcus Colston. Colston gets so much publicity, and that is just good concentration, a perfect throw. Drew Coleman did everything he could do to try to prevent that completion. But the Saints team has a lot of quality wideouts.
And now from the 12. Fake to Thomas. Brees throws inside the 10. Evans to the 2. That's very close to a 1st and goal.
And that's where Drew Brees ought to walk up to Heath Evans and say thank you very much. Because that was not my best throw of the day. Not by a long shot. Look at this. He throws it low and back behind Evans, who goes back and snags it with one hand and pulls it in as he's running the other direction.
1st and goal from the 1 for New Orleans. Thomas and Evans in the backfield. Thomas. We have penalty markers down.
And some of them early, some of them late.
12 men on defense. Half the distance to the goal. Repeat first down.
There are 3 flags in the end zone, and that's why.
Half the distance to the end zone. 1st and goal from the half-yard line. Pierre Thomas, touchdown.
Well, nothing fancy there. Good old-fashioned power football. Good blocking on the line, a good lead block, good hard running.
First offensive touchdown on the board by the New Orleans Saints today. John Carney's kick is good.
False start, number 77 offense, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Be there.